Support for Iowa Catholic Radio and Making It Personal is provided by Sarah Vocations Ministry. Learn more at joinserra.org.
Making It Personal with Bishop William Joensen on Iowa Catholic Radio and iowacatholicradio.com.
Welcome to Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen. I'm Kelly Messer-Collins with the Diocese of Des Moines. On today's show, we're visiting with faculty from St. Albert Catholic School in Council Bluffs. Our guests are elementary principal Pat Ryan and middle and high school principal Stephen Eubanks to tell us about the new school year, enrollment, their goals, and much more. But before we get to today's interview, let's find out what's on the Bishop's mind.
We want to give a proper shout-out to Monsignor Larry Beeson. By the way, good morning, Kelly.
Good morning.
Sorry, launching right into it here. And to kind of get my manners here. But to celebrate with Monsignor Beeson, who waited an extra year, as we did for so many things COVID-related, to celebrate his 61st anniversary, and Father Aquinas Nichols at the St. John Basilica provided the hospitality and the occasion to lift up this tremendously dedicated priest, this tireless servant, who in so many ways just brings the joy and really is the bearer of the oral tradition for the diocese. So much his involvement as a seminarian at the Second Vatican Council, his being called out to identify the body of Bishop Daly in that plane crash at the airport in Rome, and then his many forms of service. You know, we're going to be interviewing the principals at St. Albert Catholic. He really was charged by Bishop Dingman to bring together that system in St. Albert, so he spent 3.5 years of his priesthood helping to bring that together, and so he continues to be sought out as a spiritual director by priests and others, and is just an inspiration. And I kind of think of him as one of my first people, really kind of an ambassador of the Des Moines Diocese, as I'd been named bishop-elect to be at the seminary and convocation, as he kind of recounted some of the history of the Diocese of Des Moines. But ever ancient, ever new, he brings that fresh vitality. And so thank you, Monsignor Beeson, for the witness and inspiration you give to the people of God, including our priests. We also got going with our strategic visioning process. People are going to be hearing a lot more about this. This is something that's kind of rolling out. But Dr. Dan Ebner from Davenport is going to assist us. So he gathered with a steering committee that's just been composed representing diverse areas, constituencies, ages within the diocese. We were at All Saints in Stewart last Sunday. I celebrated the Sunday Mass with the community, but the committee was there as well. And kind of our own formation, our own conversion, as we want the Spirit to lead us so that the Spirit might guide us and speak through us and giving vision to the entire diocese. So a kind of planning phase that's going to last about through the calendar year. A research phase. Let's get it right. And there are going to be focus groups, over 30 of them that Dan and his colleague are going to be facilitating. Yes, some by Zoom, given that I think the convenience that poses. But I think really a chance, including not just those who are kind of the homies, those who are kind of already, with us, but maybe those who, for whatever reason, have felt disaffected and disaffiliated. And so I think we really want to hear all voices, because in that I think the Spirit can purify us, but also energize us and awaken our passions. So what does it mean to be parish? What are the structures? What are the key areas of our mission that God is asking us? So the planning phase and then the implementation last year. We know many, continually contentious issues in our church, our society, about the matters of vaccination for COVID-19, the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines in particular, that were not derived from cell lines, the HEK 293 cell line that was derived way back in 1973 by a baby that died, whether by abortion or miscarriage at that time, but the kidney cells that have been grown, those cells have long since kind of been phased out of existence, but the cell line continues to be the gold standard. So, the question about cooperating in evil, and abortion is a grave evil that none of us wants to be associated with, let alone perpetuate. But is this something that, even as a kind of morally, tainted to some degree, but is that real consent to cooperating with that evil, or is this something that is so distant and remote in that way? Because if we think about it, as Father Matthew Schneider, a legionary of Christ, has pointed out to us, the list of over-the-counter and commonly prescribed medications that have used this as a kind of baseline testing, as a kind of gold standard. And again, we want to push these pharmaceutical companies to make the changes and to derive new cell lines that are morally clean and without any kind of contamination. But anything from Tylenol through pseudoephedrine, all sorts of things that we might use, and prescription drugs, Synthroid, atorvastatin, metoprolol, omeprazole, many things that people are using now, albuterol for inhalers, all of these things. So it would really, if we were going to be consistent, we would do away with all these modern medicines. And I don't think what God in good faith is asking of us.
We're going to take a quick break.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio and Catholic Women Now provided in part by Marr Security, providing security solutions for homes and businesses since 1953. Marr Security is a Catholic-owned family business supplying security systems, access control systems, video surveillance, fire alarm systems, and video doorbells. All alarm systems are monitored out of their monitoring center located in the state of Iowa. Marr Security, 515-244-5660, permarsecurity.com.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio and Dowling Catholic Sports is provided in part by Ashworth Vision Clinic. With 2 licensed optometrists, Barbara Sheets, a Dowling graduate, and Dr. Craig Harper, the Ashworth Vision Clinic team provides complete eye exams, contact lenses, glasses, glaucoma testing, and pre- and post-operative care. Ashworth Vision Clinic is located at 60th and Ashworth in West Des Moines. 515-440-4610 or online, ashworthvision.com.
Welcome back. You're listening to Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen. Our guests today are faculty from St. Albert Catholic School in Council Bluffs to talk about the new school year. Our guests are elementary principal Pat Ryan and middle high school principal Stephen Eubanks. They'll tell us about the challenges they overcame last year and what they're looking forward to in this new school year.
So blessed to have these 2 servant leaders with us, and one may be familiar to our Western Iowa listeners, Pat Ryan, who's been a part of the St. Albert community for a good chunk of his life in different capacities, and now as elementary principal, and then newcomer middle high school principal Stephen Eubanks, who comes to us from across the Missouri River, but is making St. Albert now his center of his life and focus as well. Just congratulations to the St. Albert, the state baseball tournament, 1A tournament over Key Lansing during the summer. Does that kind of create a little bounce in the step for some of the people as a new school year starts?
It was a great way to wrap up an excellent year in our extracurricular activities last year. I was just thinking, about this. It would be easier to list the few activities we didn't make it to a state competition in. So it's just a testament to our coaches and really to our students, because a lot of the people we have participating in our sports activities are also the same students you see in band and in choir, in our speech contests, and our musicals and our plays. And it's just great to see, those students be leaders in all of those different areas. So we're hoping that we can match that, that same level of success this school year.
Indeed, and and so the well-roundedness of the students are able to exercise their gifts and have those opportunities, and and to overcome any kind of cliques or things or antagonisms that might creep up between musicians or athletes or anything like that. So I think that kind of integration within the larger community. Was there a big migration from Pottawatomie County to Carroll County to Carroll for that baseball championship? Did they take over the town?
I'm sure not.
Kelly's a native of Carroll County, so
they're firm, they're rooted.
You can probably get us a nice perspective as being new to the school year. That was kind of when new to the school at that time. So, and that was his first blessing into the larger St. Albert community. So,
and I can tell you, that as the new guy, to see that standard of excellence, right in front, and as a former varsity baseball coach, it was outstanding. And maybe taking over the town of Carroll is an exaggeration, but the green and gold certainly showed up in force, and we were so proud of both those, the coaching staff and our students for truly representing. So as the new guy, starting off with a bang like that, truly put some bounce in my step.
Marvelous, and comported yourselves well, and great witnesses to St. Albert and to our diocesan family. So most appreciative of that as well. Pat, you're your own position. You've been a leader in different capacities, but as elementary principal, can you share with us why this feels like a good fit and kind of fits with your overall kind of vocational path?
Sure. So I taught 5th grade for 14 years. So elementary was where I was most comfortable. It's the level of students that I was used to working with. So when the opportunity arose to look at focusing just in the elementary, which we have students from pre-K to 5 that I work with, and then also our staff and our teachers from preschool to 5th grade. It kind of felt like coming back home. It was where I was more comfortable. It's not that I didn't enjoy my time with middle school and high school students. I really do have like those opportunities, but I'm really excited about getting back to where I feel my skills are going to best fit.
Tremendous. Fifth grade, that's a neat grade, isn't it? Not quite some of the drama with middle school, but
exactly.
Do you feel like young people are growing up more quickly given the media-saturated culture or other pressures and family dynamics? Can you comment on the sociology and what we see with young people in that pre-K to 5 range?
Bishop, I've been preaching that same message since I started teaching religion in the classrooms with fifth graders. I've always said each year, I said, this is a group of people who have it, tougher. I say tougher than what we had growing up, when I had growing up, just because of the amount of information that they are able to access at such a young age and what they have to do as far as making mature decisions that, some of us in previous generations may not have had to have made until later in life. So it's really just a focus on, who do we look to as far as role models? Who do we look to as far as leaders? And asking those people for help. And how do we get through, some of those difficult decisions that we may have to make earlier than we've had to make before?
That's a really important insight, and that this kind of spiritual accompaniment that our Holy Father Pope Francis, and this is one of the concrete ways it has to happen, because we can put filters and blocks on access to technology until the cows come home, but there has to be some discernment and really a call to virtue and things, and so it sounds like that's a component of what you and your colleagues are all about.
Yes, it is something that we work with, we talk about. It's something that we focus on as far as how do we really guide our students to being better students, better people in our community. Tremendous.
And Mr. Eubanks, Stephen, you had a very storied career, as you mentioned, a baseball coach, but an administrator on different levels in the Omaha schools. And then when some people might say, it's time to hang up the whistle or hang up that, you're ready for a new opportunity. How did this kind of grab your soul to consider this position as principal?
Bishop, my career has really been blessed. It spent, as you said, over 3 decades across the river. And, how the Lord speaks to you sometimes to, gets down into your soul to say, hey, you still have a lot left in the tank, and could be very, intentional about the next chapter that I write in education or of my life. So St. Albert's was just a fantastic fit, and I will tell you, just being here and being immersed in the culture since July 1st, I am more than impressed with the students, the faculty, the community that make up St. Albert Catholic. I drive to work every day with a smile on my face, and I'm just excited and energized to be a part of such a wonderful school and community.
And just having had a few encounters with you, you bring that dynamism, that energy is just kind of oozing from you in that way, and kind of lifting up, because we all face those moments when we're kind of focused within ourselves. So I think your presence now. So taking this on, just so we're clear for the record, it wasn't because your wife said, "Please get a new job. We don't want you around."
Bishop, there's a little bit of that. I got to be honest, but no, I was called to be here. Absolutely, this is where I am meant to be.
Oh, and what a blessing. I think, and roundly, not only President Ann Rowling, but I think everyone who's had that privilege of interacting with you as well. St. Albert, obviously committed to the faith, to bringing that forward. How does that, how is that encountered and lived throughout the course of the day? And how is your role not simply, to fulfill the curriculum needs, to provide oversight there, to ensure that the professional development for the teachers and the accountability that's there, but how is there a spiritual leadership, Pat, for your role as you go on, and kick it over to Stephen after that?
I think it's, and I'm probably not saying anything that's anything new, but, it's getting away from that idea that faith or religion is just that class that's taught from 8 to 8:30 in the morning, or, what I mean, or the prayer that we say before we go to, the lunch for the day or in the morning. It's really, for me, it's about being an example, as you're walking in the hallway, or how you treat somebody who's in the hallway or in the office. If you have somebody who's having a rough day, how do you interact with that person? Because students, pick up on those things. You know, they can call a bluff. I know fifth graders for sure. You know, they notice that if you say something, but then you don't fulfill that same action, they're going to call you on that. And I think that's the biggest thing for me. And when we talk to our staff is, you know, no matter what the situation, you're an example, and it's something that you need to make sure you carry out all the time, not just during that 8 to 8:30 religion class.
We had that gospel from Mark for Daily Mass the other day, you know, and Jesus calling out the Pharisees and scribes for their hypocrisy. But I think all of us can be convicted on that, and young people really kind of call us to integrate and to be true to what we want to be and what we say we want to be. So it's a you know, it's not Big Brother watching, but those who see and hear everything, you know, are witnesses, and kind of assessing our witness in that way. How about for you, Stephen?
Yeah, I would reiterate what Pat had said. It's truly about living our faith. And when I first started here, relationships are very important to me. So I had one-on-one meetings scheduled with each staff member before the year started, and taking notes and trying to learn about who they are and so on. And so one of the very first professional developments that we conducted is, tell me what St. Albert is about. I feel as though I know, but so they got together and words like family and faith kind of came through. And that I said, you know, those are all exactly right, but truly our mission, and I really pointed to, we'll start every meeting with what we're about at St. Albert is, in partnership with our parents, our parishes, making sure that we are enhancing the potential of every single student, spiritually, physically, academically, and morally, through the teachings of the Catholic Church. So as I get in the classrooms and I'm utilizing social media to really show the great things that are going on, our Catholic identity is truly important, and it is an integral piece of what we're about here at St. Albert. So I try to display that message and remind everybody on a daily and consistent basis of why we're here.
That's powerful stuff, and we're grateful to that. I mean, because, you know, the human dynamic is if someone is delivering that message who's wearing a Roman collar, it may be, you know, compelling, but it, you know, it's kind of like, well, that's what he's supposed to be saying. That's who he is. But for a layman like yourself to say that, I think it carries a resonance and can open hearts and minds in a way that may not always speak to someone if it's a priest or a bishop saying that. So, you know, so that's really something that I think you can offer that lens and that encouragement in that way. Now, you know, we speak of priests. We have a new priest who's serving as chaplain, one of our newly ordained priests this past June, Father Maxwell Carson, a native of St. Anthony's in Southside here in Des Moines. Father Max, you know, he's such a shy, retiring guy, isn't he? He's kind of a wallflower, isn't he? You know, we have to call him out, you know, because he just wants to retreat and contemplate and pray, right? I'm joking, of course. So his addition, and then you're speechless. I was going to offer you. That was a chance to pile on here, Father Max.
Father Max, right as we were speaking, is just finishing up his first Mass with the elementary students. So I'll send you notes. I'm going to give him about an A- on his first homily. I'll send you some notes that you can send along to him for what he's done. But no, he has
send those on to Father Dan Kirby.
He understands about how great he's been, and he spent the morning yesterday in our kindergarten and our first grade classrooms, and it was great. Steve and I were able to visit with him afterwards, and just his I think he was used to working with a lot of the high school students, so his eyes were opened when he was in some of those kindergarten and first grade classrooms, and I know our teachers and our students are really excited to have him here, and he's going to be such a great addition to St. Albert.
Yeah, and you know, and that that inner child in him is not very far from the surface. So I think this will give him an opportunity to manifest that. A very charismatic young priest, and I think to share him with St. Patrick Parish as you're doing there in Council Bluffs, the kind of 50-50 assignment that he has. But again, how many of your young people, your students, are also members of that particular faith community as well? And I kind of appreciate his sense of humor. He's not afraid, the much loved and respected Father Chuck Kotis, the pastor of St. Peter's, who just bleeds green and gold for St. Albert. Yeah. But as we were walking through the newly renovated part of the gymnasium, the entrance area, he was kind of saying, now, this part under the championship trophies, this space down here, is this where your incorrupt body, someday, decades from now, that they'll place that to venerate you as everything else? So I think Father Chuck appreciated that pretty well. So, and then also, I was privileged as I had some time to be with your staff and teachers last week to share some messages with them, but to meet Sister Judy Eby, whom I believe is a religious sister of mercy of Omaha. Now, can you tell her what her role is going to be?
Sister Judy will be teaching theology to our 8th graders, 10th graders, and 12th graders. And she, like Father Max, is such an asset to our staff and our entire school. Sister Judy has a wealth of experience teaching in California and Tennessee and Ohio, advanced degrees, but she is sneaky funny. She has great relationships with our students just within the first week, and we're really blessed to have her here.
Indeed. I mean, that's a real jewel that you've put in the crown there to have her as a great asset. And again, she's not wearing her degrees on her sleeve, but she brings the highest level of competence. So if you're both willing to stay with us a little bit, we'll span the break here and then come back and maybe hear a little bit more about some of the other faculty and staff.
Sounds great.
That'd be great.
We're going to take a quick break. You're listening to Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen on Iowa Catholic Radio Network and the Spirit Catholic Radio Network.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio and Making It Personal is provided by the Sarah Vocations Ministry, including the St. Sarah Club of Des Moines and the Sarah Club of Council Bluffs. Sarah is an apostolate of the Worldwide Catholic Church dedicated to fostering and supporting priesthood and religious vocations. Sarahans strive to accomplish their mission through prayer, fellowship, and service to the bishop, priests, sisters, and all in religious formation, and in doing so to increase their own holiness. Learn more at joinsarah.org, joinserra.org. Thank you, Sarahans, for your support of Iowa Catholic Radio.
Thank you, Dental Associates, for underwriting Dowling Catholic Sports 365. With over 40 years' experience, Dental Associates is a group dental practice with the mission of promoting optimum health and well-being to all patients, providing preventative, restorative, and cosmetic dentistry for the entire family. Message underwritten by Dr. Kenton Gleichman, Dr. Steve Karbaka, and Dr. Ben Nagel. Dental Associates, addressing your smile, needs, and dreams. Online at DesMoines-DentalAssociates.com.
You're listening to Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen. We're back with St. Albert faculty, Stephen Eubanks and Pat Ryan.
Thanks for hanging with us, gentlemen, and Pat and Stephen. We talked about Father Max and Sister Judy, but you've got a much well-rounded and rich staff. I was fortunate to meet some of them. Can you talk about some of the other faculty? And are there some newcomers who've joined you? And we'll start maybe with Stephen on this one, even though as a newcomer, You're still learning people.
I am so impressed with the faculty and staff that we have here at St. Albert's, and I don't have the exact numbers, but I would venture to say, Bishop, that over 60% of the faculty and staff that we have here at St. Albert have either graduated from St. Albert Catholic or currently send their children here, and that to me sends a strong message that they believe in St. Albert Catholic schools, that so much so that they want to immerse their family, they want to make it, interwoven with their lives, and truly, as you said earlier, be servant leaders. It's a very strong community here, and our staff and faculty are, I would put, at the top.
Yeah, because certainly, they've been enriched by their educational opportunities and the chance to land somewhere else. But St. Albert's is their choice, their priority, and so that kind of loyalty it's a marvelous witness that they're offering. Pat, as you've seen too, and bringing in maybe at that younger age or just some of the extra, competencies that they bring.
Yeah, and I think as I was just thinking there as Steve was talking, the biggest thing, we didn't have a lot of turnover in our staff. We just have a lot of dedicated teachers who have been here for a long time. And to me, the biggest thing this year is, after last year being a tough year on a lot of people, and especially our teachers and the sacrifices they made, but their willingness and the overall positivity that they came into this school year with was just amazing. We could have had a staff or people who were, come in downtrodden or not wanting to jump back into it, but it was the exact opposite, and I hope Steve can back me up on this as well. I was just so thoroughly impressed with everyone's willingness to be back in the building, and then with their positivity. That was the greatest thing that I would say, for the start of this year.
You give positivity a better meaning than that it sometimes has in our COVID time here as well. But no, really that truly enthusiasm and upbeat spirit, and and again, it was a grueling stretch, and so for them to come in with that same passion that they brought before, and again, we're not clear of the specter with the Delta variant and some uncertainties about how each week will play out, and a lot of lifetime decision making for both of you, and I'm sure no shortage of people who would love to advise you or consult you. So you have to be discerning and selective as you do that. But one of the key decisions was to add a third kindergarten class. And so, I think that augurs well for enrollment and the kind of spirit as people are being drawn. Pat, could you comment on that decision?
Sure. Yeah. So we have seen our enrollment increase, with around 50 new families that we have coming into St. Albert this year. Another, at least this is from my opinion, another positive that came from COVID is I think it gave parents, and not just in the St. Albert community, but across the state, it gave parents kind of a peek behind the curtain into classrooms. When we were doing virtual learning and they were, a lot more interaction with teachers. And I think that created a vibe where our teachers did such an excellent job. But in our community, there really is a positive, vibe in the community about St. Albert. And we've had a lot of more people who have called in, with interest in learning more about St. Albert. So it has increased our enrollment. And our kindergarten class was getting to the point where we needed to add a third section so that we could stay true to our message of smaller class teacher-to-student ratios. And so it's something that we felt would work great for the teachers as well as the students.
Tremendous. And we're down to about 30 seconds here, Steve, so I'm going to have to be brief here. But Ann Rolling obviously has done so well to inspire benefactors and people who want to support the mission. And so the opportunity, but it's not just window dressing, but the whole gym and lobby and what that kind of says about the school. So about 15 seconds, if we could do that.
It's an amazing undertaking, and I think it's a true testament to the entire community. We've had numbers of alumni and stakeholders that have donated their time, their labor, materials in order to make this work, and I think it truly shows the pride that we have in St. Albert Catholic.
Yeah, and it is so stunning to walk in there and say, this is a big time environment. So thanks to both of you, prayers to both of you as you continue to go through the year.
This is another edition of Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen.
You can hear Making It Personal with Bishop William Joensen every week on Iowa Catholic Radio and iowacatholicradio.com.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio and Making It Personal is provided by Sarah Vocations Ministry. Learn more at joinserra.org.